has been 6 years that we have waited for the second season of Nogamenolife. 7 years for The Devil is a Part-Timer. 10 years for Reborn. And you know what, Mr. Togashi Yoshihiro? If you see this message, just know that someone's still waiting for you. I am still waiting for your stick figure drawings. For most anime viewers, spoilers aren't the worst thing in the world. The worst thing for them is their favorite anime never being able to publish their next season. Nowadays, most Japanese anime TV companies take the production length of 12 to 13 episodes. Such a large number of seasons has increased the annual output of Japanese anime and the efficiency of anime production, also allowing the anime company's capital flow to be fully circulated. However, this new season also brings a problem that is not looked at enough. A lot of great manga and light novel adaptations usually translates to one season of an anime after the original work sells, but there's no second season or sequel. That's because it doesn't matter how good the original light novel or manga is, BD sales are the decisive factor of sequel production. The cycle kind of looks like this. You start off with a manga being adapted to an anime. Next, the adapted manga becomes super popular, which leads to the original manga selling well. And then for some reason, it ends up that the BD sales of that anime don't sell well. This becomes an endless loop. Has the industry become solely designed to sell manga rather than make anime? Many people think that if the original manga sells well, then there'll be a second season for the anime. Well, that's just not the case. Even if an original manga sells well, it can't hold a dime to anime producers. If an anime adapted from a manga doesn't sell well, naturally, you should just think that the anime won't be having a sequel. Then, will an anime that gets lots of sales have another season? Let me explain. Japanese anime companies get less than 10% of the revenue from the license fee of an anime. Even if the anime were to make around 10 million yen in revenue, only a few 100,000 yen will be paid to the anime producer. In theory, whether the production of the second season of an anime should be the subject of discussion by the anime production committee. However, in reality, most of the anime production committees don't care about anime sequel. When BD sales sell 3 to 4 volumes, the main topic on the minds of the anime production committee is, how do we reduce the deficit and recover the cost? Let me give you an example. The entire anime industry is just like a cake. In recent years, this cake has become bigger and bigger. But anime producers can only own a slice of the cake, and the rest of the cake is taken away. Therefore, it doesn't matter how big the cake is, the percent of the slice that gets taken away continues to get smaller and smaller. On a similar note, let's talk about Bankruptcy. There is a person and a company that I must mention. The person being Shin Onuma and the company being bonesstudio. Before I really go into detail describing, I have to explain the standard for BD sales. For the production of an anime sequel, the bare minimum for passing is an average BD sale of more than 5,000 copies. More than 12,000 copies are needed for the production of an anime's movie. 15,000 copies are the best anime for the season, and more than 50,000 copies are the phenomenal and best anime for this year. But compared to the 203,940 sales of Neon Genesis Evangelion, those other anime don't stand a chance. But as for the anime that Shin Onuma made, the BD sales are as follows. EF, A Tale of Memories, 4,165. EF, A Tale of Melodies, 1,202. Bakaandtest, 7,188. Bakaandtest, Season 2, 3,800. C3, 1,899. Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, 1,837. Fate Collide Liner, Prisma Ilia, 6,779. Watamote, 1,028. No Rin, 2,357. Invaders of the Rokujoma, 1,944. Chivalry of a Failed Knight, 2,787. And Happy, 1,106. And I have to say, the qualities of these anime are pretty good, but for some reason, the sales of most of them can't even reach average BD sales. But compared to bonesstudio, he's pretty lucky. Basically, every year bonesstudio will publish 2 or 3 anime with the quality of those anime being amazing. Their conscience degree is top ranked compared to many other anime companies. Like their first anime movie, Cowboy Bebop, the animators being Shinichiro Watanabe and Hiroyuki Okiura, the music being produced by Yoko Kanno. This movie, be it the fight scenes or music, is on a whole nother level, and there are few anime that can surpass this. In the year 2007, bonesstudio published an anime film called Sword of the Stranger. This anime's original artist is Yutaka Nakamura. He helped bonesstudio create a lot of awesome battle scenes. And the Sword of the Stranger is the best 2D fight scene ever up until now. But the process of making this movie was quite expensive and almost caused the entire Bones company to break up. But thankfully, they have a very big background company called Sunrise Incorporated. So after Bones recovered, they continued to make legendary anime like fullmetalalchemist, Darker Than Black, and Blood Blockade Battlefront, and so on and so forth of high quality anime. On the other hand, low BD sales are not the only reason for anime to not have a second season. The other reason is about the anime company breaking up. If the company breaks up, it would be very hard for an anime to have a second season, unless that anime is adapted from a manga or a game, or the anime is very popular that another company decides to purchase it to continue the series. Like Date Alive. The first season was adapted by the company ALC+, then they broke up. The second season was adapted by Production IMS, and then they also broke up. And finally, they are on the third season adapted by JC Staff and their low quality. What a cursed anime. But if it were to be an original anime and the company were to break up, it won't matter how amazing it was. It's almost impossible to have a second season. Some anime from the very start plan on only producing one season, so during production, they will highlight everything from the point of view to attract the audience. And after watching the first season, I would like to watch the second season, but there's just no sequel. So the viewers will tend to go look for the manga and or read the light novels. The first season's strong purpose is generally for the promotion of manga or novels, making the anime just a marketing tool. A typical work example is Classroom of the Elite. Many people should have watched this anime before. When you first watch it, it is quite attractive because the anime is deliberately trying to attract viewers. The entire first season was in a state of suspense. Many huge plot holes were dug but weren't buried. That's because this anime was meant to attract viewers to read the light novel. And there are still various reasons to cause an anime to not have a second season, such as the manga or anime being cut, the author becoming addicted to mahjong, or the author finding himself to be very talented and beginning to trade stock. Those are just the main reasons as to why some anime don't have a second season. The reason the popular anime Nogamenolife doesn't have a second season is because they had low BD sales, and also because the next part of the story in the light novel would be very difficult to adapt into an anime. Now I'm done talking about the reasons of why some anime don't have a second season, but there's still one very minor reason behind this, which is the lack of staff and the extremely difficult working situation and pressure. A well-known Japanese anime production company, Madhouse, which has produced anime series such as Overlord, A Place Further Than the Universe, and Nogamenolife, was just waiting to have an accident occur. Inside the Madhouse company, there was an employee who was in charge of production who reports to the Labor Consulting Center in Japan. The producer said that Madhouse had damaged its labor rights, and the producer has also requested that the Labor Consulting Center add Madhouse to the Japanese Black Enterprise Alliance to better protect its labor rights. Due to long overtime hours, the producer has even fainted during work and was later sent directly to the hospital. In addition to the long overtime hours, there is also the fact that Madhouse still forced this producer to return to the company and work on holidays, and has not even received overtime pay after working overtime. Based on the various issues mentioned by this producer, the producer wants to file a complaint against Madhouse through the Relative Labor Agency, and later, the Relative Labor Agency has also investigated Madhouse. Not just them, related labor agencies also conducted an investigation of Madhouse. The producer said that during the working hours of Madhouse, the overtime was too long. More than 200 hours of overtime in a month. Let's say that you work 8 hours a day, standard for most people. Even if you were to work 30 days a month, the total working time in that month is only 240 hours. This anime producer is only working overtime and is already working more than 200. I have to say that this producer puts in a lot of hours for Madhouse every month. For Japanese anime companies, the production process is very labor intensive. The well-known director that directed the 2003 version of the anime Fullmetalalchemist, Mizushima Seiji, was worked so hard to produce the anime that he fell ill under the immense intensity and was hospitalized. Mizushima Seiji believes that the output of the Japanese anime industry has reached its limit. If the production of Japanese anime can be partly reduced each season, then the production staff of the Japanese anime industry won't have to work so hard, fall ill at work, or even suddenly die at the worksite. Nowadays, every season of anime will have a considerable number of bad films. There are many factors that cause an anime to be bad. There are objective and subjective reasons. One of the factors is that the basic working environment of the anime industry for staff is that the guarantee of a salary and benefits are not always available. On the premise that the animators can't even have a good lunch, don't expect them to be able to complete every anime to be good. Therefore, even though there's a lot of new anime that comes out each season, and the quality continues to improve throughout the years, those awards are based on the despair of anime producers. After 3D and CGI technology begins to mature, they won't have to work so hard anymore. So the years of anime still have a long way to go. And don't think that anime will end soon. Compared to other media, anime is still a newborn baby, and it still has a long way to grow.